Well, hello and welcome to another V's Cards video. My name is Veronica Chuich and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Australia. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to craft something using an easy template. And I will also show you two other cards, which happen to be Funfolds. I'll also show you some great tips and tricks as well, including what not to do. Here are some of the basic materials for card 1. But don't stress, I've added all the materials in one link in the description below. I have pre-cut and pre-stamped ahead of time for card number 1. And what I'm going to do now is attach the designer series paper onto the belt. And then I'm going to attach the belt onto the card using tear and tape. You want a fairly strong adhesive because you don't want that arm to come off anytime soon. I'm eyeballing it and trying to aim for the centre in terms of the height. Now at this stage I shouldn't have adhered the card insert inside the card because it does create a problem when I use my die cut machine, and you'll see that in a minute. What I should have done was adhere the DSP to the card front, then run it through my die cut machine. Then I should have done this step. Normally I don't run a cardstock attached to a designer series paper onto my die cut machine, but in this case you would have to. It's that small flap at the card front where you'd put your buckle hole in. So I'm going to use my die and attach it to the card front and then run it through my die cut machine. I must warn you to not use too much tear and tape, and make sure you stick some on your skin first so that you take away some of that stickiness, because once it's on designer series paper it is pretty tricky to not tear the paper. And I have done that a bit, but luckily we're going to cover that over. I'm not sure if you can see, but there's a bit of an indented line there because I've run that through the die cut machine, and I could have covered that if I put my basic white cardstock on now after I run it through the machine. Now we want a little belt curl, and we're going to do that by using our bone folder. We're now going to cover up the buckle hole by creating a buckle. By adding some shape, we're going to shape up the sentiment and give it a frame. In my first card I used dimensionals to adhere this sentiment piece onto the frame, but this time I'm using liquid adhesive. It's when you cover up that buckle hole that you will actually need to use dimensionals. Now you could use the mini dimensionals, but I'm going to use the normal size and just make sure that I don't go over because I want them to remain invisible behind the belt. Finally, we're going to add some bling. Now, if you have the painted lavender stamp set, you probably already know that the butterflies are actually one single stamp. But how did I get that to look like there's two? Well, I simply did my old cutting trick. I did cut the photopolymer stamp into two pieces. Once again, Stampin' Up doesn't recommend that, and I'm doing so at my own risk. Here's a quick look at the materials for card 2. I'm going to quickly talk you through how I created it. Here is the materials list, but on page 22 of the annual catalogue, you will notice that there are some templates that you can use to make your own cards in case you require some inspiration. And it's template 3 that I used to craft this card. Now let's move on to our second Funfold, card number 3. And here is a look at the products that I'll be using for this card. And once again, don't worry, I'll have 3 links for the 3 different card product lists in the description below. The first part of this card is really quite simple. You're adhering the designer series paper, all the vellum, onto the cardstock, as well as the card insert. Then you're figuring out how you're going to adhere the second part of the card onto the card front and which angle to go by. It really doesn't matter so long as you don't go too much over the card base. Now here's a trick to give you a good guide on where to put the adhesive and to make sure that it doesn't spill over onto the part of the card that you don't want the adhesive to be. Remember, you want to make sure that the point of the card isn't going to go over that centre score line. Now it's a matter of focusing on the centrepiece of the card front. We're layering, and we're going to use our die cut machine to cut some lavender pieces. We're going to put them together as well. We are past the halfway mark of this video. Thank you so much for watching. You must still like it, so please take a moment to like it. Also, I invite you to subscribe to this channel if you're not yet a subscriber, and please send me a comment in the comments section. I'd love to know what inspires you. Finally, it's time to stamp the sentiment, and then we're going to curl that banner as well as add some bling. And lucky there are two sides to each card because I had to turn it around and start again. I used a retired punch for the end of that banner. You could manually do that with your scissors or use any squarish type punch. I also used my bone folder to shape the banner and give it a bit of a lift. If you love the products you're seeing in this video and you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia, be sure to look up me. I would love your business. Thank you so much. Remember, the links to the product list will be in the description below. If you click on that, then it will take you to the list and you can actually copy that into your shopping cart. We are coming to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and happy crafting.